I've been promoting an idea that's unrealistic for a lot of people. You see, starting a glamping business the right way will cost tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars up front. And a lot of people just don't have that. However, if you are between the ages of 25 and 45, there is something that you likely do have that is a competitive advantage that will allow you to start a side hustle in the glamping industry. So that's what we're going to talk about today, how you can start a side hustle in the glamping business and earn a lot of money. And the cool thing about it is that not a lot of people know about this side hustle, so you get to get in on the ground floor. Here's what you need to understand. People that are in the millennial and Gen Z generation have a ton of experience in the hospitality industry. If you look at the statistics, a huge percentage of these generations have worked in restaurants, hotels, amusement parks, and other similar service-based industries. And there's something about people's spending habits in these areas that you have to understand, because that's what's going to give you the ability to start this side hustle that I'm talking about. So let's dig into it. Oh, and don't worry, by the very end of this video, I'm going to give you an exact blueprint to follow to start this side hustle. So be sure to stay tuned until the very end. Okay, so the first thing that you have to understand is you have to know who goes glamping. In 2022, the glamping industry was valued at $2.7 billion, and that was fueled by travel among the millennial and Gen Z generations. And the other thing that you have to understand about that is that these generations overwhelmingly spend their money on experiences over material things. They even spend more money on experiences than their retirement. But the question is why? Why would these generations be spending so much money on experiences, and how does this overlap with glamping? Well, let's dig into that. Part of the answer is social media. These two generations are near natives to social media, and documenting their experiences and sharing them online is very natural behavior. At the same time, glamping is a kind of experience that is really scenic and lends itself to being documented and shared online. Just look at the huge following that these example glamping businesses have on sites like Instagram, and you'll see that they're very popular. But it would be lazy thinking to believe that glamping is so popular with these generations just because it looks good on the gram. So let's dig into the second piece of data that you need to understand before we can dig into how you can use this information to build a very lucrative side hustle. Picture this. Imagine falling asleep in a luxurious tent that has a skylight so that you can fall asleep while looking at the stars. You wake up in the morning and you eat a hearty breakfast that was prepared for you before you go on a nice long horseback ride that is going to end at a scenic location where a picnic will be laid out for you. Now, remember what I said at the start of this video about millennials and Gen Z valuing experiences? Well, the glamping industry has really catered to this desire by building a whole host of experiences that are part of a glamping stay. For example, just look at one of the most popular glamping stays, the Atlanta Treehouse, and you'll see that they have a whole host of curated experiences, including massages, private dinners, a mixology class that guests can include as a part of their stay so that they can create memories around it. And that's just one example of many. I'm going to list here additional glamping sites for you to research because I want you to check out the kinds of experiences that they make available to their guests. And when you stay at one of these places, you can, for example, go on a hot air balloon ride, you can go on a horseback ride, go river rafting, go on a guided hike. The possibilities are really endless. And so now I hope you're starting to see how someone with experience and expertise in the hospitality industry could really start to build a side hustle in the glamping industry. If not, I'm going to share exactly how to do that up next. But before I get there, I have to share a little story. When I first started as a short-term rental host, I wanted to provide additional experiences to my guests, including a private chef and a private in-home massage. And I did all the research. I found through referrals a couple of great vendors who had really raving reviews and provided quality service. And I got them on board to provide these services to the guests. And I included this additional information on my listing with beautiful photos. And one of my first guests, a bride, bride, she actually booked both of these services, the chef as well as the masseuse. And everything was going fine until the day of, 2 hours before, my masseuse cancels. And so there I am having to scramble to find another person to come in and deliver this massage. After calling around, I couldn't find anyone on such short notice, so I turned to Thumbtack, and eventually I found a person, and it all worked out. The massage went great. The guests loved it. They had a wonderful experience, but for me, it was one of the most traumatic and stressful experiences I've ever had as a host. And I quit doing it. I took it off of our listing and I never offered it again. And what I realized was that for any additional thing that I wanted to provide to my guests, there had to be a system and a process in place to make sure that it happened and that it was of high quality. And that just wasn't something that I wanted to take on. And frankly, that's the risk that hosts take on when they offer these additional services. They're going to be dependent on these additional vendors to provide the service, to do it on time, and to do it well. So solving that pain point is one way that you can leverage your experience in the hospitality industry and build out this side hustle that I'm talking about. And here's why this is going to work. Most people who start a glamping site are not going to have the experience and the expertise of being in the hospitality industry. They're either going to be nature enthusiasts who want to turn their passion into a business, or they're going to be real estate investors like me who want to get into the vacation rental market. And they're not necessarily going to be looking to take on a whole other business on top of that, which is what providing these experiences would be. In addition, making sure that guests are having an excellent stay from start to finish is something additional for a lot of hosts. And this is the additional pain point that someone starting this side hustle could really solve. So that's the idea. You could partner with a host to offer your services as a hospitality specialist who will manage the quality of guest stays and who will coordinate and curate a set of experiences for guests to include. And in exchange, you could offer to take a share of the profits of those experiences. So let's get into what this could look like and why a host would want to work with you. So the first thing would be is that a hospitality specialist would oversee the cleaning crew to make sure that the accommodations are perfect. They're clean and they're consistent in what they provide. And this hospitality specialist would put any special touches in place. So if it's like rose petals on a bed, it could be putting a bottle of champagne in the room, some charcuterie, putting out slippers, all of those unique special touches that may be already included in the stay or that the guest has paid for additionally, making sure that those are there and that they are consistent. And then the hospitality specialist would be the one to work with the vendors to hire them, to schedule any of the excursions, to make sure they are of high quality, to collect any waiver forms that may be needed, etc. But managing the experience from beginning to end. And in exchange for this work, you would be taking a share of the profits of the excursions that the guests are paying for. Now, the reason why hosts would want to work with you is because you're making their lives easier. So for one, you're making sure that their business is running even more optimally, right? The guest experience is really curated and taken care of, but you're also making sure that their business is more profitable because guests are going to be paying additionally for these services. So it's a really win-win situation for you as well as the host. And this is what makes it such an easy sell. Now, this works on your end because this is a way for you to get into the glamping industry without having to have a ton of experience in that industry, as well as you don't really need any upfront money to be able to do this. You just need your expertise in terms of having worked in the hospitality industry and your knowledge of the local things to do that guests would really value, as well as your attention to detail. So this would be a really easy business for you to start up. So that's it. That is how you can build a really lucrative side hustle in the glamping industry without any upfront money of your own. However, if you do want to start a glamping site, please refer to this video here where I walk you through this step-by-step process on how to start a glamping business the right way. If you want to become an Airbnb host, my link is down below. You will earn $40 after you host your first guest. If you want a completely free shopping guide for all of the decor and furnishings that you need to furnish your Airbnb like a pro, check out that shopping list in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching today's video. Bye-bye.